So the other day I was working a job. I was out in the sun for like 4 hours or so, and I got burnt a little bit. So I decided to make a TikTok about why I personally try to avoid using sunscreen. Keyword, personally. Like, this was always my opinion, still is my opinion, will always be my opinion. And I received so much hate. Comments of people telling me I was an idiot, telling me how wrong I was, how stupid I am. Now look, I may look like a doctor to you. I mean, most people think that I'm a doctor, right? I mean, look at me. I look like a doctor. But I have news for you. I am not a doctor. Shocking, right? Mike Gorman, not a doctor. So, you have to understand, when I give my opinion, this is not the opinion of a doctor. It's the opinion of some Joe Rogan-y type 32-year-old guy that, just lives his life and, tries to impart wisdom on people who I think that I can help. So I've always just not enjoyed using sunscreen. Like, I found it to be so greasy and gross. I remember as a kid, my mom just always forcing me to use sunscreen, and I hated it. That feeling when you get home from the beach, you just need to get in the shower, get that sunscreen off. Sometimes the sunscreen is even waterproof and it doesn't even come off in the shower. I've always just hated using sunscreen, but I didn't really know much about it, right? And one day I found out that sunscreen can actually be absorbed into your skin. So when I found that out, I personally made the decision to cut down on my sunscreen use as much as possible. So for consistency, I don't put anything on my skin. I don't use facial products. I don't use moisturizer, anything like that. Even soap, I try to use as little soap as possible. Imagine that. Imagine someone who doesn't buy into the propaganda of the skincare industry. It's almost as if the more products you use, the more products you have to use. Like, oh, if you buy this moisturizer, it doesn't work unless you use this concealer. So the more you buy, the more you spend, the more you save, and the more the industry keeps on rolling. And so the other day I saw one of my favorite doctors on Instagram say that your diet can actually affect how your body deals with sunburns. And once again, I personally am not a doctor. I follow a lot of doctors. I follow a lot of doctors that aren't part of the mainstream narrative and kind of give their own take, The doctors that I follow aren't bought and sold. So anyway, he said that your diet can affect how your body deals with sunburns. And guess what? I don't think this is a crazy claim. I mean, think about it. Every single thing you put in your body has an effect on the way that you live and on the way that your body heals itself and just functions. So it's not crazy to think that somebody who eats Big Macs all day versus someone who has an incredible diet will handle a sunburn in the same way. And not only that, I mean, there are just so many factors that come into play when you're dealing with sunburns, mostly including skin type. I have Italian skin, so I don't know, maybe I can handle the sun a little better, but this is all just different for everyone. Everyone has different skin. Everyone has different tolerance to the sun. Everyone heals sunburns in a different way. But I do think your diet can affect how you heal a sunburn. So anyway, there were 2 times this year, 2 times that I got burnt very badly. And I was very worried that I was going to have a bad sunburn and there was going to be some issues. And since switching to a meat-based diet, I was shocked. Like, I didn't get the burn. And once again, I'm not trying to offer you up any science as to how your diet can affect your sunburn, but I think there has to be something that can be said about diet and sunburns. I mean, how can there not be? So the other big claim I made in my TikTok is that sunscreen can be absorbed into the skin. And I had a crazy amount of people disagreeing with me to a point where I was actually questioning myself. I was like, am I wrong about this? People in the comments saying I'm not educated, but guess what? This is an article from ABC News. A new study published in the medical journal JAMA finds that certain active ingredients can be absorbed into the bloodstream after use. However, the fact that an ingredient is absorbed through skin and into the body does not mean the ingredient is unsafe. They go on later to say, should you stop using sunscreen? No, it's sort of this whole thing. Do the risks outweigh the benefits? And that's up to you to decide. But I think it's important for everyone to know that these ingredients found in sunscreen are being absorbed into your skin and furthermore, even into your bloodstream. And that's just science. And I'm sure you can find science that disagrees. I'm sure the sunscreen companies have come up with their own studies that say that I'm wrong and it's not true. And sunscreen is the safest thing you can do. But it's important to hear all sides because guess what? The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. And you, as the consumer, as someone that is out in the sun all day, should be aware of all sides. For example, and here's another thing I said in the TikTok, if you're going to be out the beach, I think that the positives of sunscreen outweigh the negatives. Like if you're going to be at the beach for an extended period of time, put sunscreen on, lather up, protect yourself because you don't want to get burnt. However, if you're picking up lunch, for example, outside for like 5 minutes, I would say you probably don't need it. Not to mention many people, including myself, are deficient in vitamin D, and sunscreen can actually block vitamin D, which is another factor you have to weigh in this whole thing. Like I always say, being a human isn't easy. There's a lot of factors. Everything you do, there's a consequence for every single thing you do. And the beauty of this country is that you have the ability to decide what you want to do with your body. And I'm just trying to inform people of all sides so that they can make the best decision. And of course, there will be plenty of people that call this pseudoscience, to which I would say humans have been around for a very long time. And guess what? Guess when sunscreen was invented? Sunscreen was invented in the year 1940. Humans have been living without sunscreen basically forever. For our entire human existence, humans have survived without sunscreen. So if anything, sunscreen is pseudoscience. And like I always say, it's really important to just live a life like your ancestors. I mean, we're built to live like our ancestors. So if your ancestors were exposed to a lot of sun, you probably should be exposed to a lot of sun as well. If you're from a cloudy, overcast environment like Ireland, like some of my ancestors, maybe you do want to avoid the sun a little more. There's not one solution for everyone. But just remember, there is a massive industry out there making money off of selling you the fact that the sun is dangerous. The sun, something that we've lived with for eternity, something that gives us life and energy, responsible for literally everything. All of this is from the sun. And they have every single incentive to tell you that the sun is harmful.